The seductive styling of the 2022 Mazda CX-9 elevates your idea of what a three-row CUV can be.
Get 0% financing on a new Mazda CX-9 at Baton Rouge's Mazda dealer, Team Mazda.
That would be concerning and maybe set a precedent moving forward.
If you had plans to be outside, you might hit a couple of these little passing showers.
A drug bust and a few arrests made. Look at what they hauled in here. Does that sound like Christmas music to you?
It kind of does.
It's not just you.
No, it's magical.
It does. Welcome to the magic, everybody. Welcome to, again, WAFB Plus here, 9 News Now. We've changed it up again for those of you kind of just catching on with this. Used to happen at 9:15. We now begin right after 9 News this morning. We start at roughly 7:02 and 32 and a half seconds.
That's to the second.
Specific.
The goal here is to make sure that you have a continuation from the big show on WAFB Channel 9, because we know a lot of you are on the go, right? And so the big stories of the day are always going to be weather and traffic. So how about we start in the world of weather with Dr. Steve Caparata. Steve, a lot warmer today. Good morning.
Good morning, Liz. Yeah, that is the main headline outside this morning. You'll definitely notice the difference headed out. Also, plenty of clouds overhead. It's going to be kind of a gloomy Friday morning around the area, but 69 degrees. We're talking about temperatures that are nearly 20 degrees warmer than we were at this time yesterday. Winds out of the southeast at 8, starting to pick up a little bit. It's going to be a breezy, if not at times windy day around the area. Temperatures anywhere from the mid-60s to around 70 or so. New Road 67, Gonzales checking in at 68 degrees. Our first alert radar network is picking up on a little bit of shower activity, especially as you go near, east, and south of Alexandria this morning. We've had a few sprinkles locally, though. If you look closely, you can make out a few of these green dots have been lifting up to the north. But this little batch of showers gathering out to our west, we think some of those could impact the area as the morning wears on. So not a bad idea to have an umbrella handy today. Otherwise, it will continue to warm up, even with the clouds in place. That's going to be complements of those southerly winds. So temperatures around 80 at noon, highs in the mid-80s. Winds could pick up south 15 to 20. Could even be 15 to 25 miles per hour at times. So future radar kind of picking up on some of the showers out to our west. Not notice, overdoing the coverage a little bit, but the bottom line is some of the showers that are to our west and northwest right now going to impact some of us here mid-morning, 10 o'clock. Should be light stuff, shouldn't amount to a whole lot. Into the afternoon now, 12:30, we've got a few spotty showers around. Still maybe a few around at 3 o'clock. That trend continues right on into the evening, but nothing major. Now, as we go deeper into the night, and especially tomorrow morning with the approach of a weak cold front, a few more showers early Saturday. But we are talking just a few, generally light. Here we are at 9 o'clock, and by the time we get to noon and beyond, we'll dry out tomorrow afternoon. Should even see some sunshine return. Now, no severe weather expected locally today or this weekend, but looks like we're shaping up for another significant severe weather event up to our north today and tonight. Unfortunately, that could include some strong tornadoes and some very intense winds as well. But you see how the Storm Prediction Center has even lifted that 1 out of 5 marginal risk a bit farther northward from what we showed you yesterday. So mid-80s today. Tomorrow could have a few showers early and then warm up to 87. Slightly cooler Sunday, 61 in the morning, a high of 82. Now, much of Sunday is dry, I think, but a chance of a few showers returns late in the day. Few showers Monday. Early next week, the headline will be temperatures in the upper 80s to near 90, talking about potentially some record warmth, and by late next week, some scattered rains return. It's 7:06 right now. Let's get an update on your Friday morning traffic with Jerry.
Yeah, Dr. Steve, we're not trying to hit the rewind button here. Let's keep it moving forward. Thank you, sir. Getting a live look on the roads. I-10 at College looking okay, but there is an accident just off of the interstate. We're going to take a look at that in just a second. I-10 at Washington. Now they've zoomed the camera out, got the big picture. You can see the downtown over there in the northerly distance, but it's moving well. Really less congestion than what we would typically have, not only for this time of morning, but to say it's a Friday as well. Maybe some folks aren't going in today or start getting a late start. There's that little cone right there. Now, it's not exactly on I-10. It's actually on College Drive as you get near I-10. That's why none of the cameras are really picking that up. So might be a little slow if you're on College Drive. Elsewhere, okay. I-12 westbound, yes, there's a little bit of stop and go as you're making way towards Millerville and as it clears up as you get past 61 Airline. But I got to tell you, all in all, this is actually not that bad. I would say better than what we typically see for this time of day. Going all the way out, New Orleans, even their relatively quiet. A little bit of slower traffic right there on I-10. That looks right by the Bonacary Spillway, just off to the north of Kenner. But right now, no issues getting between here and the big airport. One little slowdown right here. I-12, Juban to the 1012, but again, not that bad. 17 minutes the average speed at about 40 miles per hour. Side-by-side comparison, BR to Denham Springs, 14 minutes on the interstate, and you could tack on another 10 minutes if you're going to be along 190. Matt and Liz, send it back to you.
Not too bad for a Friday, Jared. We'll take it.
Yeah, and with a lot going on, obviously, that's, we know there's plenty of stuff to get to here. And actually, what we wanted to start with right now is something that happened overnight hours. Just got the release early morning, a fire in Denham Springs.
You see the headline here, unattended candles sparked it. So the Denham Springs Fire Department responding there, and they told us that it's actually somebody who they call a squatter in that kind of situation, living in the Eastover apartment complex, I believe, mobile homes there in Denham Springs. And so this happened overnight, so at a time, you know, when most people are sleeping. So when you talk about an unattended candle sparking a fire, that can be a really scary situation leading to something like this. So
if there is anything more that comes from the investigation, if they have any updates, obviously we'll make sure to let you know as well. But at this point, it looks like accidental, candle caused, and then they move on. From that, though, to this, there's really no moving on from this. Things need to happen. Things need to change. Well, a big change for one family. They're about to say their final goodbyes to their 11-year-old son.
Matthew Fortenberry, we've shown you this picture. This is coming off of a recent basketball championship.
Yeah, no kidding.
They won this, and that's how they were able to share this photo. His parents getting together with the chief of police, with Mayor Sharon Weston Broome, saying the city needs to stop its violence because our son is a victim of it. So today, as Matt mentioned, his parents, his family members, the community invited to attend his funeral. Right,
the Wilson Wooddale Funeral Home. It's there on Wooddale Boulevard. After that, a short repast as well to the Charles R. Kelly Community Center. That's Riley Street. Again, immediately following that, if you'd like to come out and pay your respects and say goodbyes, I know they could use a little bit of that community love and that hug. But yeah, that's tough when you talk about saying goodbye to somebody this young and the way he went.
We're still following that investigation too, and again, if you know anything, please call Crime Stoppers. His parents sure would love something to move on.
Tough to move on here as well. We have got the president in our neck of the woods a little bit later on today. He's headed to Mississippi. Again, President Joe Biden visiting Mississippi. You know why he's going to be there. Parts of Mississippi still dealing with the aftermath of deadly tornadoes.
Specifically Rolling Fork, Mississippi there. So the president going to make that visit later on today. We're keeping our eyes to see exactly how long that visit is going to be, but we'd imagine that he's visiting with survivors on the ground, family members of the victims who were killed by that tornado that moved through so quickly. A lot of the mobile home parks there, but you're seeing video now of the damage. You've got people in the neighborhood there who say everything has been, nothing looks familiar. You can't make out, you know, people's lots just because you see debris there, but it's hard to make out what is what.
Which is why when the governor asked for a federal declaration, a federal emergency declaration, the president was very quick to grant that, of course, which means federal funds begin to be accessible very quickly. But you know what? There's ways you can help. We've talked about this, right, Liz? There is a drive going on. There's multiple right now. We talked about one in Zachary, the Zachary Fire Department, still looking for donations.
And they will take your donations through Sunday because they're trying to make that trip up to Rolling Fork on Monday. So if you have cleaning supplies, donations, not looking for monetary donations, physical things to help clean up. So think back, unfortunately, if you are a tornado or a flood victim or a hurricane victim, you know what you'll need to move on in this recovery process. It is those cleaning supplies. It is bottled water. It's socks. It's things that you don't think about. Towels. Please drop those off at the Zachary Fire Station there, and they will bring them up there to our friends in Mississippi.
Okay, from dropping off supplies that are needed to getting rid of perhaps the stuff that you don't want. You got a hazardous materials drop off. This is an Ascension Parish, and that's an important part of this. Ascension Parish.
You can't go if you live in EBR Parish.
Or anywhere else.
Yes, they are only accepting hazardous waste material from folks who live in the AP. So I know a lot of people are doing some spring projects right now. Paint, there's a lot of leftover paint. Just enough where you don't want to throw it away, but you don't know what to do with it. We'll bring it over to Lamar Dixon tomorrow for that household hazardous waste material
That's
day.
The words.
Yes.
9 to 1. 9 in the morning to 1 in the afternoon. All the good stuff that ain't so good that you want to get rid of it. Again, as Liz mentioned, only for folks there in the AP. All right, got some stuff to blow through here as well. We actually were having this conversation this morning. What if you want to access the media? Hi, can see. What does that even mean? You can even knock on the door or send an email. Actually, there's something going on tomorrow,
Let's
right?
narrow the scope here.
Exactly
So the
right.
Baton Rouge Area Association of Journalists is actually hosting a special seminar,
Pretty cool.
particularly focused for nonprofits
That's
to
exactly
help
right.
get their message across to the media. How to make your press release sing so the media actually says, well, you know what? Okay, we have time to make time for this. It's important enough, but how do you pitch it? They're talking about the tips and tricks tomorrow.
We actually got to talk to somebody who used to be in the biz and now is kind of coaching folks outside of the biz to deal with the biz.
Yeah.
All that story waiting for you right there at WAFB.com and the 9 News app. Something we've talked a lot about actually in recent days.
Yes.
We were just talking about Easter right around the corner.
Yeah.
It's actually a big little kind of hop into spring event with Breck today.
Yes, there's a sensory bunny happening at the Breck Zachary Park. You're invited to attend. Any children with disabilities, adults with disabilities, a great time to get those Easter photos in a non-threatening, loud environment. But you do have to sign up for a time slot so you don't wait in line.
Right. Yeah, right. So what you do, Breck.org, right? You go up to the little hamburger menu, click on calendars, and they got all the events right there. You'll find this one. They do already have a couple of those slots, and it's multiple people in those slots filled up. But there are still some options. Jump on right there and do that. All the local Easter egg hunts, maybe perhaps right there. How about TheLouisianaWeekend.com? It's not just that, it's all the other events going on. And the big event that everybody's talking about right now, welcome to the Final Four.
I tell you, 6 o'clock tonight, game day is finally here as the LSU Lady Tigers wake up in Dallas. In the Final Four tournament, we get to say that again, and that is such an honor. You can catch the game at 6 o'clock, but we have live coverage all day for you. Perry Robinson, Jacques Doucet, been in Dallas for a minute now, kind of bringing you the fan hype ahead of the game.
All the fun stuff. 6 o'clock to tip off, which is actually the same start time for game 2 of LSU baseball, right? So these guys are going to be back on the field a little bit later on tonight as we bring in kind of Steve and Jared again. Game 1, absolutely insane at the box, went the Tigers' way, taking down the Vols. Steve, did you watch the whole game, you said?
Late, but as I was telling you, it felt like the magic of the old box. You know, you get in the postseason, and it felt like the crowd would will LSU to victory sometimes. That's kind of how the 8th inning went. Start with there were 2 outs, bases empty, you had a crazy error, and then from there, it just kind of snowballed. The next thing you know, 5-2 win. It was a lot of fun to watch.
I love that. I love that you stayed up and you came back to join us today, Steve. You're a trooper.
Here.
Flex those muscles.
Yeah, he's gonna don't flex too much, man. You're gonna pass out. Just pass out. Absolutely.
I love it. I love it.
All right, so there you go, everybody. Thanks for being with us on the Plus here. We'll see you again in a little bit.
Go Tigers. Just